Hey guys, welcome back to Ashley's Story Blog. I know I've been out a little bit this week. We had a rough week. We had to put down our cat who was really sick, so that was really hard. So it made the week feel like an eternity, but he was just really sick, so I'm just thankful he's not suffering anymore. So if you've had to put down an animal, you know it's a really, really hard thing, especially if you've had him for a long time. Like I had him for 19 years and he lived in every house I've lived in except for one, and he truly was one of my best friends. So the house is not the same without him, that's for sure. Today we actually went to the Humane Society. My father-in-law is looking for a cat, and it was just nice to spend some time with the cats there. So if you ever have the opportunity, it's just fun to visit the animals, and they love your company, and it's just very therapeutic to spend your time with them. And if you can adopt instead of shop, it is very it benefits both parties, the animal and the buyer. So there's nothing like having an animal companion in your life. So we are on a happier note. We are going to read another story by Adam Rubin. This is also illustrated by Daniel Salmieri. He did The Dragons Love Tacos. I don't know about you, but I live in the forest, and we have tons and tons of oak trees and tons of other trees. And I love living where there's trees. But if you live where there's trees, there's lots of animals, which I love. So I put out lots of bird feeders, but also with oak trees, you have lots of acorns, which the birds like, but the squirrels like that too. And they are always tearing up my bird feeders, opening them up, dumping out all the seeds. So today our story, and I don't know if you watched the last video, but our guest likes to chase squirrels. So that's the thing he likes to do, and so does Peach. I'll have to have her on as well. I might bring her up as our guest for today. But those Darn Squirrels is the book that we're reading today. This is by Adam Rubin, illustrated by Daniel Salmieri, and you can see this guy. We're going to meet him today. It says, on the outskirts of town, at the edge of the forest, there was a little old house. The only thing older than the little old house was the man who lived in it, and his name was Old Man Fookwire. So look at the house. See, he's got a lot of trees, just like I do. Old Man Fookwire was so old that when he sneezed, dust came out of his nose. He was also an old grump. He hated pie, and he hated puppies. Doesn't sound, look at him. He's telling that puppy to get out the door. The only thing that Mr. Fookwire liked were birds. All summer long, the old man painted pictures. I love to paint too, of the birds that visited his backyard. There were whirly birds, bongo birds, baba birds, yaba birds. Even the rare flugel bird came by once or twice to visit him. Fookwire's paintings weren't very good, but the birds never said anything. He looks like a very interesting man. When the air turned crisp, the leaves began to change color, and the old man grew sad. He knew that soon the birds would be flying south for the winter, as they did every year, and he would be very lonely. Then he had an idea. If he fed the birds, maybe they would stick around. So it looks like he's making them some stuff. So Old Man Fookwire built beautiful bird feeders and put them up all around his backyard. He filled them with delicious seeds and berries, and soon the birds came from all over the forest just to eat in his yard. But the birds weren't the only ones who liked bird feeders. The squirrels did too. Not many people realize, but the squirrels are the cleverest of all woodland creatures. In fact, they're little fuzzy geniuses. They can make a house out of a tree, build a bed out of leaves, and build a kite out of twigs, dirt, and squirrel spit. And they are very excellent at math. I don't know if my squirrels are doing things like that, but there's a lot of them. Winter was fast approaching, and the squirrels needed to gather as much food as they could to get ready, so they decided to take some of the birdseed. The birds were not happy, and neither was Old Man Fookwire. When he discovered what happened, he shook his old man fist and yelled, "Those darn squirrels!" He filled up the feeders again, but this time he hung them from a clothesline. Then he went back inside, confident the squirrels would no longer be able to get the seeds and the berries. So it looks like he is trying to stop them. But the squirrels were very determined, and they devised a plan, and this time they took all of the birdseed. Not good. The birds were furious. "Harumph, harumph, harumph," yelled a bonga bird. "Those darn squirrels," yelled Old Man Fookwire. "Yum," said the squirrels. This guy is not happy. Look at the squirrels. Their bellies are really full. Now, Old Man Fookwire was upset. It was his time to devise a plan. So he went to the general store, he bought lasers, clamps, wires and springs, and all sorts of tools, and built a fortress around the bird feeders, and then he refilled them very carefully. "Na, na, na," said the birds as they flew by, and they were mocking the squirrels. That night, the squirrels stayed up all night working on their strategy. They drank cherry cola and ate salt and vinegar chips to help them stay awake. Finally, they had it, the perfect plan. They put on tiny helmets and prepared to launch themselves in the air between the fence and between the lasers and onto the bird feeders. I don't know if you like salt and vinegar chips, but I do, and I do like cherry cola. The first squirrel misfired and hit a tree. The second one went way too high and landed in a bucket of paint. And the third just sailed clean over the house. It's a good thing they had their helmets on. The birds laughed and laughed. They each had one delicious mouthful of seeds and berries from the old man's feeders, and then they flew south for the winter, just as they did every year. And the flugel bird stuck his tongue out at the squirrels. After the birds left, Old Man Fookwire was very lonely. Just as he is every year, he fixed himself some cottage cheese and pepper, his favorite snack, but he was still very lonely. When he looked out the window, the squirrels could tell that he was not happy. "Go away," shouted the old man. "I don't like you squirrels." Looks kind of sad. The squirrels held a meeting that night, deep inside of a large tree. They decided to give the old man a present to help make him feel better, and they felt bad for taking the seeds and the berries. Now, not many people know, but squirrels also are not just fuzzy geniuses, but they like to collect anything they can find on the ground. If you look behind me, like I have all kinds of trinkets like the squirrels, like buttons. This is like my craft room. Buttons, paper clips, playing cards, anything they can find, they will make a stockpile. But what would Mr. Fookwire like? Bottle caps, popsicle sticks, stamps? Finally, they had the perfect gift. The squirrels stacked all the loose change that they had found at Old Man Footwire's doorstep. There were dimes and pennies, nickels and quarters, even a few tokens from Coco's arcade. It ended to be $47.36, plus a few rounds of skee-ball. "Maybe you squirrels aren't so bad," Mr. Footwire said when he found the coins, "but I still like birds better." This gave the squirrels another idea. They raided their junk collection again and got to work. Squirrels are actually being nice. When Old Man Footwire woke up the next morning, he was amazed to see that the birds had returned. But wait, those aren't birds. They were squirrels in disguise. "Great googly moogly," said Old Man Footwire. "This will make quite the painting." He ran outside and took down the lasers and the wires and the spring-loaded trapeze. He turned all the bird feeders into squirrel feeders, and he painted till his brush ran out of bristles. Look at these guys. They dressed up as birds. The squirrels were so overjoyed they had a party in Old Man Footwire's house. "Those darn squirrels," said Mr. Footwire, and he shook his old man fist and smiled. So sometimes people that we might not think are our friends actually can become our friends, and I think he realized that he could find a lot of joy from the squirrels as well. Like I said, we have an issue with squirrels at our house, and they are constantly knocking over our feeders. I have some other stories coming up that follow up with Mr. Footwire and the squirrels. But I hope you guys are having a great Sunday and enjoying your day, and I will see you soon.